Hey crypto friends, checking into the sector today. New all-time high in Bitcoin, but it was short-lived. We've got a lot of volatility in both directions. We're going to be looking at the Litecoin pump and pondering the question, is this a red flag for the cryptocurrency space as a whole? So here's a Bitcoin daily chart. We hit a new all-time high, but we're hovering near the low of the day as we've seen significant fear in the stock market world today with some Evergrande default news and definitely an impact in Bitcoin. It was a little bit of a delayed impact, but let's start from the beginning. So this morning, I went real aggressive bullish in Bitcoin. The reason? This was an hourly falling wedge, and I was looking for a 12-hour bull flag. So it was essentially, okay, healthy 12-hour consolidation, and if this is going to be a 12-hour bull flag, that means this hourly falling wedge is going to break bullish. So what I did on this pullback right here, is I entered a large position, adding to my core swing. And what I've been doing over the past couple of weeks is shifting between aggressive and conservative. When I'm feeling like a daily high or low is being set, or I have a clear pattern that I like, I go more aggressive and size up in my swing position. It's not always with Bitcoin, but it's often with Bitcoin. And it's often with other coins as well. But Bitcoin, I will size up if I'm looking for a daily high or low into a new all-time high test. And then once we get bull breaks, I scale out into the strength and then want to have capital and cash for the next time we see hourly oversold conditions or the next time we see daily consolidation. So this morning, I made this aggressive entry and it used up the majority of my cash in my account. I had some in ADA, which we'll look at in just a moment, but entered in the 66.7, 66.8s. And I put my stop not under 66.2, I put it under 65.5 because I know that a falling wedge breaks support, lacking follow through, and then breaks bullish is generally how they play out. So I had to give wiggle room under support levels to ensure that I was not stopped out on this wedge continuing to play out. And then I'll be completely honest, the entire time I went to get coffee this morning, I was second guessing myself. Why did you do that? That was too aggressive. What if we break bear? You're going to give back X amount of dollars of your profit this week, etc. I was having those doubts. Then we came home. I came home. Sweetie Pants was with me. We came home. We then had economic data, pre-market, 8:30 a.m., CPI numbers, inflation, and jobs numbers. And again, as the bigger that Bitcoin gets and the more balance sheets it's on and the more institutional investors, the more it's going to react to the broader global economic, love it or hate it, we've got correlations and we've got it reacting to everything that's going on in the financial world. So it's not independent of that. And we had a reaction to those CPI numbers and to the job numbers. Again, right on the dot, 8:30. And anticipated that this would happen, posting in the chat room, hey, heads up, we've got this economic data coming out at 8:30. We dump down, we break support, we hold 6,600, 66,000, and then we rocket up. And we rocketed up while SPY had a bearish reaction. It was a bit of an inverse reaction. SPY didn't dump, but it pulled back while Bitcoin shot up. And that's exactly what I wanted to see on this falling wedge breaking bull and a new all-time high. I exited 40% of the position that I added, scaling out on this move, and in hindsight, wish I had exited a bit more, obviously now, but I am all out of that position now, and I just exited the remainder on this weak bounce attempt because there's all kinds of red flags at this point. And so the lesson for me is maybe take 60% profit, but I was going for a home run. I wanted to see healthy consolidation and a bull break of 70,000. And here we are breaking support now. So a clear momentum shift taking place. And during this consolidation, there were no red flags whatsoever. And even here, when we rolled over a bit, we were just looking for an hourly high or low. And there were no red flags at that point. The red flag started a bit delayed to SPY. And let's check in on SPY. So SPY started getting weak here at noon into 1. And then around 2 p.m., we accelerated a bit to the downside. And you look at Bitcoin, and its acceleration to the downside was right around 2 p.m. And it just dropped really significantly. This drop here in the span of less than an hour, or right around an hour, 50-minute drop, almost 3%. Man, that's not significant at all for Bitcoin. Recently it is, But 3%, that used to be a 5-minute candle. So the red flag for me here, why did I exit on this weak bounce? Because SPY was bouncing and Bitcoin was showing me a bearish correlation to SPY. It was a red flag to me that we were not bouncing more significantly here, because again, SPY here at the end of the day is up at the high of its bounce and Bitcoin was showing relative weakness. Another clue, the miners, MARA, HUT, and all these names they flipped. They had a bullish correlation with crypto the entire way up, and they had a bearish correlation start yesterday and follow through today. I did not take that as a red flag for crypto. I took it as a short signal for these miners. But definitely making note, okay, the miners showed us a flip from bullish to bearish correlation, and Bitcoin saw notable weakness since then. So we're going to look at a number of things. Is the Bitcoin weakness here? Number one, it's just like exhausted bulls using up all the momentum to the upside. Was the clue in the Evergrande SPY reaction? Was the clue in the miners showing us weakness comparative to Bitcoin yesterday? Was the clue in Litecoin pumping? We know the dash to trash, where Litecoin pumping oftentimes signals temporary tops. An aspect of my trade game plan this morning is I thought to myself, as a contrarian, everybody today is now anticipating Litecoin runs to indicate tops. And eventually that's going to stop working, because the more people that catch on to a pattern, the less it works. So that was something that was going through my mind as well. And it will remain to be seen. You know, we don't have enough information, but if we were to start weekly consolidation from here, we could certainly say, yep, it happened again. A Litecoin pump marked a temporary top. So from here, now what? Well, daily consolidation is underway, and I'm back to only a core swing position and back to a lot more cash. And that means I'm waiting for opportunity again. I'll be watching for hourly oversold conditions perhaps, although we just hit it, so maybe not. I may be just patiently waiting for daily EMA 12. Not sure. One thing that does stand out to me is the lack of weekly consolidation on a lot of altcoins. We'll look at Ethereum in just a second, but no real weekly consolidation on Ethereum in over 6 weeks. So potential that we start seeing some more significant consolidation. We'll see. Anything on Bitcoin above 60,000 is a daily high or low. And we're watching what is the pullback retracement size on this move. Dominance chart. So daily bounce underway. And it's been a dominance bounce led by Bitcoin's strength. Now it is a dominance bounce that is being led by altcoins being weaker than Bitcoin itself. So it shifted a little bit yesterday and into today. A little bit of a dominance bounce because Bitcoin was moving up. And now a dominance bounce because Bitcoin in the crypto space is moving down. So what I'm watching for is a weekly higher low to potentially be shaping up in this continued tightening range. How these equilibriums break, the ETH BTC as well, are going to be very key. So we got our low, high, higher low, lower high. I'm watching for this to be a higher low, and then anything under 47.72 would then be a lower high. Altcoin bulls want this chart to break bearish to fresh lows. And that's definitely on the table as a possibility into the end of the year, something we're going to be watching. And another thing to be watching, the ideal scenario, if I'm an altcoin bull, I want to see a top set in Bitcoin. I want to see a pullback into a range that we're going to trade sideways within for a prolonged period of time. And then while we're trading sideways, I want that dominance chart to dump, because that means altcoin bulls are getting their chance. Ethereum, so nice run to all-time highs. New all-time high hit today, 48.68. Consolidating anything above 43.29 is a daily higher low here. So still a clear daily uptrend. Keep it simple. That's been intact for 2 weeks at this point. But again, we won't be surprised when weekly consolidation takes place. We are very due for it, and we still have half a week to go. We'll see what the weekly candlestick shape ends up being. Hourly oversold conditions. Approaching. Just getting there right now. Hourly oversold has been the best time to buy Ethereum 4 times in the last week plus. Let's see if it remains that way. Downtrending support line here coming into play. Now we'd have to drop a bit more. No, it's in play. right there. Hitting all these lower lows on the drop. We'll see if we can bounce 15-minute RSI crushed. Definitely some longs getting liquidated on this drop. ETH BTC confirmed a daily downtrend. First little red flag for Ethereum losing the spotlight. The spotlight went from Ethereum straight over to Litecoin. And we'll look at that. But this was a spotlight correlation with the ETH BTC pairing and the ETH USD pairing both going up in a daily uptrend, tick for tick with each other. And then we saw an inability to break daily resistance and a break of daily support. And that was a red flag. It doesn't mean Ethereum's going to top out, but it just means that there's stronger plays out there. So what we're watching for is this our 2-week lower high? When this pattern breaks, it's going to give us a lot of volatility and some information. So we're looking for anything under 7955 to be a lower high. We can trade within this sideways range for another couple months. And if we're going to see an alt season with Ethereum standing out in a big way, this pattern that is tightening up at this point for 6 months, we'll have to break bull. Litecoin getting the spotlight, big time move. 300 psychological, marking the temporary top. That's the only resistance nearby. Once we broke 237.88, we're looking up to 300. So nice follow through for the bulls to get up to that level. In the last video, we talked about the signal here as far as the break of the equilibrium that was tightening up here. And the equilibrium breaking bull was a nice bull signal. I didn't get any Litecoin on this time around. I do have some long-term no-touch Litecoin from 2017, certainly smaller than Ethereum and Bitcoin no-touch positions, but it's in there. And it made a notable move the last few days, so that made me feel better. But I just wasn't at the computer at a time where I liked an entry, is honestly what it boiled down to. And Litecoin did have a recent 5-minute oversold bounce that gave a nice entry. 5-minute oversold at 254. Another 18% of upside from there. 5-minute oversold being hit right now. 15-minute not oversold yet. So Litecoin is looking for a 4-hour higher low. Anything above 254.18. Bears are going to be watching for a potential 4-hour lower high entry next time we bounce, and they're going to try and top fish 302.08 resistance. So that's something, if you're looking to have a bearish position, you're keeping an eye out, and it would look like a head and shoulders here with your left shoulder, your head, and you would be scouting the lower high, top fishing resistance, and hoping we roll over to confirm a downtrend there. Man, these miners are just getting crushed with that Bitcoin flush. MARA down 15% today. Hourly getting oversold, not yet, almost. So Litecoin, bears have a setup that they're keeping an eye out for. LTC, BTC, very similar, a little bit stronger. 4-hour, trying to set a higher low as well. Less of a head and shoulders here on the 2-hour time frame. So bulls still holding strong on the LTC-BTC pairing. And we know if I'm looking short, I want to see that LTC-BTC pairing show weakness as well and roll over with the US dollar pairing. So also with the last video, we were talking about other laggard names to be watching. And I was talking about the ADA trade that I was in. And that was an entry at 207. I exited half at 211s. No, I entry 209s, exited half 211s, break even 207s, just stuck a stop at break even, and fortunately, it never got back down. It was right here. And then it ran up another 10%. And I'm all out at this point, scaled out half into the strength, I believe 232 or so, because we were testing a 234 resistance level. It was 237 resistance. So I exited half just under that, and then I exited the other half today, seeing signs of weakness on this 4-hour. So all out ADA, it was a nice trade, just a short-term laggard trade, sympathy play to Litecoin in my opinion, just because it's one of the weaker coins recently, as was Litecoin. So a little bit of a move towards these laggards. Checking back in on Bitcoin, now that the stock market just closed. So we'll see if that allows for any kind of bounce follow through. 67,000, anything under that is a 5-minute lower high. And again, not even that beat up because we're coming from a point of strength. The hourly RSI only just got oversold. Probably might not have even touched 30, right above it. And that in my mind means it can always get worse, so protect. Don't get lulled into a sense of complacency as a bull and forget about the times when the hourly RSI drops to 19. Sol USDT, I was watching this falling wedge, and it broke there. So we were scouting a daily high or low, and I was looking for that falling wedge to break bull to try and set that daily high or low, but now the daily uptrend is lost, and the weekly is shaping up for potential consolidation. And what we'll be watching for from here is, do we set a daily lower high next time we bounce? Because confirming a daily downtrend is when that weekly consolidation gets a lot more follow through. Sol BTC was a little bit of a clue here. Sol USDT had an hourly trend change bullish that then resulted in that dump. Sol BTC never changed the hourly trend bullish. There are clues in the BTC patterns, pairings, and that was just one little instance. So maybe that means I use a smaller position size if I'm playing Sol bullish, or maybe it has me prevent from entering that trade. I always want the BTC pairings to be strong and changing trends with the US dollar pairing when I'm making these entries. And Sol BTC, lots of space for a daily lower high, next bounce, and it's also still a weekly inability to break that resistance. Noteworthy. I did have good news, and shout out to moderator Julian, who's the other channel that I give a shout out to sometimes, but ENS. So I am not suggesting anybody do anything with this coin because I don't know much about it, in complete honesty. All I know is in 2017, I registered some Ethereum domains, just gave it a what the heck, and registered 5 or 10 of them because who knows, maybe in a few years this will matter. Didn't think twice about it over the last 3 years. Julian messages me 2 nights ago and says, hey, there's an airdrop coming. It's worth checking out. So I said, all right. And I've never used Uniswap. I haven't done any of this stuff. So I was figuring it all out. Felt like I was 80 years old again. Trying to understand how to claim my tokens and where to put them and where can I sell them. And, I used to think airdrops are like $50. This airdrop gave 10 grand back here. And at this point, I sold half. As soon as I got it, sold half. So free $7,000. And now I still have half that's worth $10,000. That blows my mind. That's absolutely insane. I had to tie up a little bit of Ethereum for a year to get those addresses, and then it came back. And I no longer own those addresses because I haven't done anything with them for 4 years. But to get a free 5 figures overnight is insane to me. This crypto world is nuts. What's also insane to me is knowing how many other people got that free 5 figures and the price is still going up. So I'm holding half, number one, because it's a very strong hourly uptrend and a blue sky breakout chart. But number two, I'm watching to see if we're going to get listed on Coinbase or something that's going to, it's a YOLO at this point. Hey, let's hold for $1,000. Who knows? I'll exit certainly before the Bitcoin top and cycle shift is in. But just fascinating that this is a thing. Blew my mind. And I know some of you watching this got that as well. So congrats. Airdrop from doing something 4 years ago. Wild. All right, do good things. Appreciate you watching. Bitcoin needs a 5-minute trend change to shift short-term momentum. Got to watch the S&P 500. We are seeing some fear correlation. S&P 500 is looking for a daily higher low. There are no red flags. I mean, look at this move that the S&P 500 just saw. So daily consolidation, still no major red flags at this point. And have to keep an eye on it because we are not immune to fear. And if fear were to hit the broader market in any more meaningful way, it would definitely lead to weekly consolidation in the cryptocurrency space, in my opinion. So you need to determine, am I holding my long positions through weekly consolidation? Am I going to hedge by entering short positions? How much profit do I want to take? What uptrend guide am I using to stop out of my positions? These are all things that you want to know in advance for when sentiment shifts. But overall, daily uptrend still intact, and that's going to be my guide for the rest of the week, one day at a time. Feel free to ask any questions. Thanks for tuning in.